Well, my skies have cleared up quite a bit. There we go. This is our beautiful moon tonight. Isn't she gorgeous? Coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. Hope everybody's having a lovely evening. Temperature's perfect here. We do have a little bit of color to our moon, and that is due to the wildfires that are throwing up smoke up into the skies, but most of my clouds for right now have gone completely away. So we have got a beautiful clear view. I was not expecting this. Some facts to start out about our moon. Our moon is about the same width, our moon is about the same width as if you took the lower 48 states of the United States from west to east. That would equal about the width of the moon. It's also a little bit smaller than the continent of Australia. Now, these darkened areas that you see on the moon, those are called the seas of the moon. There's not actual water on the moon, and instead, when these were first named, they actually did think that there was water on the moon, but we have later learned out that these are just lava plains that do not reflect as much light as the highlands or the brighter areas of the moon. The seas of the moon, the lower left-hand side, that is the Sea of Crisis. Just above that is the Sea of Fertility. Above that, that smaller one that's off to the right-hand side, that is the Sea of Nectar. The one beside the Sea of Fertility, that is the Sea of Tranquility. Below and just to the right-hand side of the Sea of Tranquility is the Sea of Serenity. Above the Sea of Serenity, that is the Sea of Vapors. To the right of the Sea of Serenity and the Sea of Vapors, that is the Sea of Rains or the Sea of Showers. The bottom right-hand side of the Sea of Showers, you'll see an area that kind of looks like a backward sea. That is the Bay of Rainbows. And those mountains off to the right-hand side of the Bay of Rainbows, those are the Jura Mountains. That darkened area that is almost a perfect oval, that is off to the lower left-hand side, that is the Sea of Crisis. Just below the Sea of Crisis, we'll zoom in here just a little bit. Just below the Sea of Crisis, here in the center of your screen, you'll see kind of looks like a weird backwards 3. Well, kind of looks like a bird. So that is actually the Sea of Serpents. Just above it and off to the left-hand side, that little darkened area kind of looks like a weird W. That is the Sea of Waves. Above the Sea of Crisis, that foamy area just above it, that is the Sea of Foam. That bright little dot that's off to the right-hand side, that is Proclus crater. Above the Sea of Crisis is the next sea that's closest to the edge. That is the Sea of Fertility. Off to the very left-hand side of the Sea of Fertility, that is Langrenus crater. Beside the Sea of Fertility, the next large sea that is now in the center of your screen, that is the famous Sea of Tranquility. At the very top of the Sea of Tranquility in our view tonight, that is Moltke crater. I'll try and put that in the center of your screen for you. There we go. Kind of come in on it just a little bit. There we go. Hello, Alondra. Montenegro. Welcome to Dob Views. Now, you'll see an area that kind of looks like a mouth that's coming down to eat a tiny little dot. Do you guys see that in the center of your screen? That tiny little dot is Moltke crater. And just beside Moltke crater, off to the right-hand side, just a teeny tiny little bit down, that is where Apollo 11 landed. Now, just above the Sea of Tranquility, that is the Sea of Nectar. And then again, Moltke crater is in the very center of your screen. It looks like a little mouth is coming down to eat it. I call it the dragon eating the egg. So that tiny little dot is Moltke crater. Now this next sea that is just below and down to the right from the Sea of Tranquility, this is the Sea of Serenity. And in between the Sea of Tranquility and the Sea of Serenity, at the very bottom of those two craters, where they come together, sorry, not craters, the two seas where they come together, that little area that kind of juts up and comes in between the two from the bottom, that is near where Apollo 17 landed. That is near Bear Mountain. Now, coming into view from your right-hand side, coming in towards the center, the bottom area of mountains, that is just to the right-hand side of the Sea of Serenity, that is the Caucasus Mountains. Just above that and kind of arcing over to the right-hand side, those are the Apennine mountain ranges. Now, do you guys see that weird little M that's in the Apennine Mountains? Do you guys see that? It's kind of a darker relief. Off to the left-hand side at the bottom part of that darkened M, that little area that's jutting into the Apennine mountain range looks a little bit darker. That is Hadley Rill. And Hadley Rill is where Apollo 15 landed. Hello. So good to see so many people. Now you've got three craters that are kind of all together in the Sea of Rains. The one that is at the bottom, that is Aristillus crater. And then the one that is to the upper left, that is Autolycus crater. And then that really large one that is just to the right-hand side of Aristillus and Autolycus. I'll try and put those back in the center of your screen. So those three, the large one of those three, that is Archimedes crater. Now, below those three, you'll see a really dark crater. It kind of looks like a perfect circle. It's similar in size to Archimedes. That is Plato crater. And below Plato crater, that is the Sea of Cold. Coming into the center of your screen right now, that is the Bay of Rainbows. Give this a chance to catch up just a second. Okay, at the very top of the Apennine mountain range, there is another crater all the way at the very end of the upper right-hand side of the Apennine Mountains. That is Eratosthenes crater. And then that really large crater that's just above Eratosthenes coming into the center of your screen, that is Copernicus crater. Below that, those are the Carpathian mountain range. And then that next dark, really dark crater that is almost at the very edge of the visible moon, near the terminator line, that is Kepler crater. Hey, Pete. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. So now we've got Gassendi crater that is on the very edge of the terminator line. Kind of looks like a ring that's upside down. Do you guys see it? Just above Gassendi crater, that is the Sea of Moisture. I know a lot of people that don't like that word, but there's nothing I can do about it. Now I'm going to back out of this just a little bit so that way, up at the very top of our view of the moon. Now, mind you, this is an upside down view of the moon. My telescope that I have flips or inverts the moon, so it's actually upside down and backwards. That's due to the mirrors that are in this telescope. But at the top point of our view of the moon, that's actually the southern side of the moon. But do you guys see all those lines that are going towards that one crater that's kind of small? Do you guys see that? Those lines are called ejecta lines, and they all point and come in towards where Tycho crater is located. Tycho crater was named after Tycho Brahe, which was a famous astronomer from the 1570s and the early 1600s. And just above Tycho crater, try and get that in the center of your screen now. So Tycho crater is the one that all the lines are pointing to, and then just above Tycho crater, you'll see Clavius crater. Clavius crater is quite large, and it has 5 smaller craters inside of it that kind of make a half moon shape that gets smaller and smaller as they make their way down and off to the right-hand side. So that is Clavius crater. I'll give you guys a full view. I was not expecting my skies to clear up. I actually went live earlier when I had quite a bit of clouds. But yeah, my skies have cleared out quite a bit considering. But uh-oh, looks like I might have more clouds coming in. So we better enjoy this while we have it. But it is a beautiful view tonight. Oh, thanks, Pete. I try. I've got I'd say close to almost 300 places on the moon memorized so far, so I keep looking at the far side of the moon, and it terrifies me because at least on the near side of the moon, I have far more things that I can actually pick out and differentiate from each other. But on the far side of the moon, it just looks like trying to map gravel. So yeah, in the center of your screen, this is the Sea of Crisis. Below that, darkened oval, that little area that kind of looks like a 3 or 2 humps, that is the Sea of Snakes. Just above and to the left, that weird little W kind of looks like waves. That is the Sea of Waves. Above the Sea of Crisis, almost directly above, that is the Sea of Foam. Then we also have Proclus Crater, which is that really bright one that's right beside the Sea of Crisis. Here, this is the Langrenus Crater, the bright oval that is just off to the left-hand side of the Sea of Fertility. Then we have the Sea of Nectar, which is just above the Sea of Fertility. And then, of course, we have the famous Sea of Tranquility. The Sea of Tranquility is in the center of your screen right now, and just almost at the top, you'll see kind of looks like a mouth that's coming down to eat a tiny little dot. That tiny little dot is Moltke Crater. Moltke Crater, just below that and off to the right-hand side, is where Apollo 11 landed. Now, in between the Sea of Tranquility, which is off to the upper right-hand side, and then this new one that's coming in that's on the lower side, on the right-hand side, the lower one is the Sea of Serenity. In between those two, in the bottom part of our view, in between those two, kind of looks like a point that's coming up in between. That is near where Bear Mountain is located, and that is where Apollo 17 landed. Just above the Sea of Serenity, that really bright crater that you'll see, kind of looks like it's got a line that's coming straight down. That is Menelaus Crater. The next sea, I'm going to put it in the center of your screen. It lies just, in our view tonight, it lies just above the Sea of Serenity. That is the Sea of Vapors. There is another really bright crater that lies just up and to the right-hand side of Menelaus. That is Manilius Crater. And it lies at the, right now in our view, at the bottom part of the Sea of Vapors. That weird squiggly little M, that is in the Apennine mountain range, almost in the center of your screen. At the bottom part of the M, that little area that's jutting out into the Apennine Mountains off to the left-hand side, that little area, that darkened area, that is Hadley Rill. That is where Apollo 15 landed. Almost in the center of your screen, you have two larger craters that are close together, one kind of on top of each other. The one on the top, that is Eudoxus, and then the one at the bottom of those two, that is Aristotle's crater. Try and get those back into the center. There we go. So the one at the top, that is Eudoxus crater, Eudoxus, and then Aristotle's crater. To the right-hand side, you'll see a darkened area that kind of looks like a valley that's kind of pointing towards Aristotle. That is Alpine Valley. And below Alpine Valley and Plato Crater, which is that really large one that's quite dark, that's in the center of your screen, that just below that whole line of darkened area, that is the Sea of Cold. Okay. We actually had a really good view tonight. I'm really happy. I was not expecting that. But look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? So pretties. Just me and the bugs tonight. Last night I had one of my best friends, her little son, over for a couple of hours. And then I was getting ready to break down for a little bit and go in. And one of my neighbors and three of the kids from the neighborhood stopped by, and they were out here for almost an hour. It was really late, but they were almost out here for an hour, and I had such a great time showing them Saturn, and I showed them about the moon, and we talked about the cosmos, and we had a really good time last night. Oh, nothing but clouds. No fun. I had clouds earlier, and right now I'm kind of tickled pink that I have such clear skies. What time is it? Let's see here. Let me go look at my clock on the wall. It's almost 12. I might have a good view of Saturn here in a little bit if my skies hold out. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, because I've got quite a few that are moving in from the north. The joys of living in Scotland. Okay, I'm not as cloudy as you are, so major props to you. But living here, because I live in Columbus, Ohio, which we have a lot of clouds that come down from the Great Lakes area. So I feel you on having so many clouds. You're just like, okay, I picked one heck of a hobby to torture myself with, considering that we have so many clouds. I'm gonna go see if I can find Saturn. Hold on a second. If I can, I may try and move the telescope. Nope, too many clouds that way. Dagnabbit. Yeah, scopes are paperweights. It's like we torture ourselves for some crazy reason. I don't know why we tend to do it, but unfortunately, we were caught by the bug, and if we have 1 minute of clear skies, by George, we're out there. My family originates from Scotland. The McBrodas, Collinses, let's see here, the Shockleys, and the Ridleys. So I know at least most of my family actually originated out of Scott, and I've got a little bit of Irish, not much, and apparently some German Dutch. It was Jost George. That's where my red hair comes from. I kind of scared my family when I was first born. I came out and I had coal black hair, really dark skin. And then about 6 months later, my hair had turned the color of a copper penny. And Dad, when I was first born, Dad was like, "Are you sure she's mine?" And then after 6 months, he was like, "Yep, she's mine. She's definitely got the Brady in her." The McBrada and the Shockleys, they have lots of red hair. Both I and my sister have red hair. My dad didn't have red hair. He did have red sideburns, though, which I always found interesting. But Grandma Shockley, she definitely had beautiful auburn red hair. So I'm happy that I took after her. I used to hate my red hair, but now I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. Somebody asked me a couple of nights ago how in the world I got started in this crazy hobby, and back in 2014, my father passed away. And so when he passed away, I remembered that when I was a kid, he used to lay out in the backyard with us and show us the different constellations and the moon and tell us about all the stars. And so that was our big pastime when we lived in East Tennessee, because TV wasn't, we had, you know, rabbit ears and stuff like that, but most of it was fuzzy. So our TV was the skies and Dad telling us stories about constellations. So most of my childhood was spent staring up at the stars at night. And so when he passed away, I thought to myself, what's something that he and I cherished together that I could do that would keep a little bit of him around? And so I thought, you know what? I think that I'm going to go back and look into what I used to enjoy with him, which was astronomy. And I don't know what made me really think about that. And then I started watching Dr. Rebecca Smethurst's page. And I love her. I think she's amazing. She's an actual astronomer. She actually has a degree. I'm just an idiot with a telescope. But she actually inspired me to actually get a telescope. And so ever since then, I've been bitten by the bug. Oh, wow. Did you grind your own glass mirror? So, for the people that are listening on my other page, that's awesome. I've been into astronomy for over 40 years. This is Pete's astrophotography. He says, my dad and I made a homemade scope when I was a kid. So I asked him whether or not if he ground his own glass for the mirror. Now, if you're wondering what that creaking sound is, that is my dad's old chair from the old boot store. So every time I move, this old wooden chair that I've had that's been in the family at the boot store, well, I guess he bought this in like 1968 or 69. So this chair's actually older than I am. I don't know why, but YouTube tends to lose focus after a little bit, so I keep having to tap the screen. That's quite annoying, YouTube. Fix that. I need to make it to where we can just lock. And I would also appreciate being able to reduce the brightness. I don't know if one of these... No, that's not going to do it. Nope. I guess I could have not been lazy and actually added a moon filter, but oh wow. We bought off-the-shelf optics. It was only a 4-inch newt, but brought many hours of great views back in the day. I can imagine. When I was a kid, we didn't have the money for a telescope, so instead, he used to take me to the library, and that was my first request to ever go to the library, was to go get books to read about the sun and the moon and the stars. And there was one book that I favored so much that I used to check it out week after week after week. And apparently, a couple of other people in the neighborhood were quite upset that that book was never in, because I would literally just take it up and say, I want it for another week, and then take it back. So they never actually put it back on the shelf. So the librarian there, oh goodness, what was her name? Mrs. Teague. Mrs. Teague. She's probably gone now. She was quite old when I used to go there, but she actually bought me that book when I think I was 6 or 7 years old. She actually bought me that book so I could actually take it and keep it at home so that way they could have their copy still at the library. Oh, goodness, I haven't thought about that for years. Mrs. Teague. Goodness me. She was a sweet little lady. There we go. Look at that. Look at that clarity. That's just beautiful. Just beautifuls. So, Pete, I may end up dropping and getting off of Discord. It's just become quite cumbersome for me to have so many different channels, and I'm also trying to build out my webpage. And I'm going to have to decide where I'm going to focus most of my attention because I'm kind of getting lost on the web. And if I'm going to add Neptune at some point, then something else is going to have to go, unfortunately. Now, I'll still remain on YouTube, but I will likely do a little bit more work on my Neptune page, just starting it out once they get it up and running, if they ever do. I'm kind of losing hope. They keep pushing it back and pushing it back, and I'm like, guys, either you can release it or you can't, but the old woman has very little patience these days. Yeah, I wanted to stay on Discord, but I have a little bit of issue with that webpage, with that company. I'm part of the Big Sisters program and have been for many, many years. And one of my little sisters a couple of years ago, she had been on Discord quite a bit, and there was a lot of bullying that was going on, and it cost her her future, if you know what I mean. And so she ended up taking a permanent action to a very temporary situation at the age of 13. And Discord did absolutely zilch when it came to protecting her. And I did not join Discord for the longest time, and a friend of mine asked me to, and then after getting on it, it's like every time I pull up Discord, it's like a little reminder of her, and it's wearing thin on my it's wearing thin. But Neptune is going to be a new app that is supposed to be coming out. Whoops. So it will be another video app, kind of like YouTube, kind of like TikTok. I'm hoping that it will be better than TikTok or YouTube. So far, I'm losing a little bit of patience, but I never had any of that to begin with. I was too impatient to wait in line for it. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that Neptune will be something that will come about and will actually be a nice filler to take over where, because I actually got rid of Tik. I used to be on TikTok, and I got rid of that web page. They couldn't decide whether or not if they were going to keep it, whether or not if they were going to zip it, whether or not if they were going to, it's just been in turmoil for like the past couple of years. And I finally just said, I'm done. I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. And I was kind of the same way, Pete. I joined on Discord, because somebody asked me to do it and this, that, and the other. And I created my server. And I'm just, I'm, s- I'm so worried about the possibility of someone like little sister that's part of that program of something else happening like that on my own server, and I don't know whether or not if I would be able to. I don't know. I I think that would just cut me in a way that I don't think that I would be able to get over. Because losing her at such a young age, she wasn't even mine. She was, one of the girls that, I was a mentor to through a mentorship program. But she made such an impact on my life, and especially after she was gone, that I just, I can't be part of something that I know could cause and has caused so much harm. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I will end up removing it. That, and it's becoming a bit cumbersome for me to do all of the different web pages and try and build up my own. It's becoming a little bit too much. But yeah, I was the same way. I joined Discord for a friend, to remain in contact after we thought that TikTok was going to be gone in February. So I joined Discord, and it just I don't know. I'm not comfortable that on that site. I'm still on there because I've been using it as kind of a backdrop for me to drop videos that I haven't finished or haven't used, and this, that, and the other. And I've still got some work to get done to get those off and moved on to, I don't know, like a flash drive or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that once, because Neptune is on there as well, and once they fully launch, then I will likely drop Discord and just move all of the stuff that I'm putting onto Discord onto Neptune, and then just totally get rid of the Discord app. Well, gang, I have got quite a few clouds that are moving in, and I want to grab some pictures and stuff before all of this goes away. So I'm going to get gone. But Pete, thank you so much for coming in. It was such a pleasure to have you stop by. I hope you enjoyed just the little bits of info that I gave out during the live. And I hope that I will continue to do lives here on YouTube. I don't get as many. Like when I was on Tik, I would get, 100, 300 people per night. One night I had over 1,000 people in my live. I just don't get that kind of, I just don't get that kind of reciprocation here. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong with YouTube, or I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't do lives that often, because the few times that I have gone on live, it's been kind of interesting. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Well, Pete, thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate you guys. I hope you both have a wonderful evening. I don't know who the other person is that's in here, but I haven't seen you comment. Maybe it's Alondra or Volnai, Machado, or Montenegro. So whoever else is still here, thank you so much for stopping in. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. This is Dobs reminding you to keep looking up.